Hey, Zach again, and before we start, please go play this game. I don't know how to stress this enough. It's free, it's brand new, it's easy to run, it has no jump scares or flashing lights or anything, and it needs all the support you can give it. If you have the capability to play it and watch this without doing so anyways, just know that every time you pass a raccoon on the street at night and they look at you weird, they are judging you. They know what you did and they are judging you for it. You have 5 seconds to leave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And before we start, if you've got the funds to spare, please consider backing the Kickstarter. They've got some good rewards on there, even if some are a bit on the pricey end, and maybe throw me a sub as well. I stream pretty frequently, and I plan to do more videos like this as well as a bunch of other stuff too, so I'd appreciate you sticking around. Alright, incapable observers, previous enjoyers, and monsters alike, let's stop avoiding the video essay allegations and jump into the gameplay So the first thing you notice after all the splash screens is this main menu, and can I just say the music in this game is so damn good. It's mostly just the same theme being remixed over and over again, but god damn is that a good theme. Anyways, besides this funny bird peering at us, there isn't really much here, so let's move on. When you start a new game, you're given a very nice cutscene that kind of reminds me of the animation style used in Shipwrecked 64 and all the other associated broadside animation stuff for humans. Editor's note, this is because Firecat Productions is the 3D animator for this and for basically all of Broadside, as well as being interspersed with dashcam footage and a lot of references for the mascot horror community. The music and visuals all come together to make a really fun intro cutscene. After it ends, you're placed among all the rubble and the garbage littered everywhere around the entrance of the park. The gates won't open, so you find your way over to the staff room, and this is where you'll be greeted by Rambly the Raccoon, your AI partner for the game.
Hi there, and welcome to Indigo Park!
He mentions how it's been a very, very long time since someone was last at the amusement park.
Wait! You're our first guest in 2,920 days, 4 hours, 23 minutes, and 38 seconds. Congratulations!
So, you sit down at the desk so he can get you registered and stuff, and afterwards he directs you to the gates. Now, this is where one of Indigo Park's biggest strengths is introduced, and that being the world building. Namely, the silent tutorial that it gives you right now for collectibles. As you leave the office, you are shown a small fish plush sitting on a box right in eyesight. You can walk up to it and collect it, and it'll tell you to go to an information kiosk to inspect it and stuff. And then as you walk over to the gates where Rambly told you to go, you will find a lion plush down on the ground next to him, where you can also grab it, showing you that not only can multiple be in one area, but you also have to explore a little bit. As you get to the gate, Rambly will tell you to just go on through since it's open. but it's not open, so he sends you off on a mini Rambly venture to go and turn back on the generator to power it. A detail I really like is how the missing gear for the generator is actually sitting in a hole in the roof. And when Rambly is done talking, you can watch it fall down and do this cute little animation. So you grab the gear, put it in, and you can grab a Rambly plush that's also in here before going back to the gate and getting a grand welcome from Rambly.
Welcome to Indigo Park.
So you can find a bird plush right next to the entrance if you go right, and it's sitting on a bench. And then if you head to the turnstile, Rambly will tell you you don't have a critter cuff, and he sends you to the gift shop to go get it. Hey, editing Zach here, and I didn't notice this until I recorded the footage, but whenever Rambly's sending you over to the critter store, you can actually hear his last couple words get repeated by something.
Get you set up.
Which I think is pretty cool. He locks the door to show you how to use it to activate things, and then you activate the turnstile past this cool statue, and then leave since there isn't really much else left here to do. So the path crumbles behind you as you enter the hallway that leads to Rambly's Railroad. You can find a Raction figure, which is basically a Rambly Funko Pop or U2s, in the women's bathroom. And when you approach the screen, Rambly will recognize the state of things and tell you that your admission is free.
Pardon our dust, buddy. Looks like the park is going through some renovations. For the inconvenience, your Rambly Tuesday discount will be 3% off.
He also tells you to go get on the Rambly's Railroad ride. You walk through the exquisitely themed ride queue. Hey, editing Zach here, and one more thing I forgot to mention. If you turn the corner in the queue quick enough, you can actually find a bird here, which if you remember from the posters outside, this would be Molly Macaw. As Rambly tells you,
Your facial data suggests you may be a bit older than the target audience for this ride, but it's one of my favorites. Do you know why Rambly the raccoon loves Rambly's Railroad? Because I like trains.
then you get into the train cab and the ride begins. The first room of the ride is you meeting Rambly in a desert. Sadly, he glitches out a bit before moving on to the train car in front of you, but at least he gets to accompany you through the ride. The next room is that of Molly Macaw, who, from the conversation between her and Rambly, is not a very good pilot. However, she is a wonderful stalker, as you need to pay close attention to notice a less friendly version of Molly looking at you through the service door. The third room belongs to Finley, who is a bit of a massive pessimist. However, he does confirm that both him and Rambly are at least 100 years old, which is pretty cool. Also, Rambly confirms that his ride, the Oceanic Odyssey, is closed for repairs.
How about you come into it instead? My ride, Oceanic Odyssey, will teach you all about the wonders down under the deep blue sea. It's as blue as me. I hope you'll visit. I'm so lonely.
Oceanic Odyssey currently closed for repairs.
Room 4 is pure rubble, and Rambly glitches out, so we have to hop off the ride and go fix him. If you look at the rubble, you will find a purple skunk broken in half. We don't get a name for her just yet, so we move on to the service hall. About halfway through, there's a collapsed Molly statue who repeats a phrase similar to "You hurt Lloyd." I have zero clue what this could mean, to be honest. You make it to the gear room and fix the ride by replacing some gears, and you can also find a dilapidated Rambly ear hat thing on one of the shelves. You then go back to Rambly and get moving. The last room is Lloyd's theater, where Rambley's mood becomes a bit agitated at the presence of the flamboyant and theatrical lion.
Hey there, Lloyd.
Do not shame me with that common folk name. I am the proud, the prestigious, the professional Lloydfoot L. Lion, actor extraordinaire.
Great act, Lloyd.
Of course it was. I'm the real star.
It's a shame his final remarks aren't given subtitles because of the fade to black. Afterwards, you get off the ride and go into the Rambley's Railroad gift shop, where Rambley will show up on the mid-ride pictures screen, asking you where you want to go next. Also, after he disappears, you can see on one of the middle ones, Molly chasing after your cart. So yeah, you can be sure that she's behind you, basically always. After you leave, you can explore the town square, which, while mostly rubble, does have a few open buildings, those being a bakery where you can grab a collectible Rambley cup, and a diner which has a golden Rambley plush. You can also get called over by Rambley to a little speaker box thing, which is the information kiosk, where you can ask him about collectibles you've been grabbing. Your character will also have some thoughts shown in text on the side of the item while hovering over it, and Rambley has a different reaction depending on which one you ask him about. Let's go over these in the order that we have collected them. The sea serpent always kind of freaked me out. I love aquariums and fish, but the size of him always made me feel uneasy as a kid.
Ooh, you found my buddy Finley. You know, he's really shy. Like, too shy. Like, obnoxiously shy. But he's got a good heart. I hope you get to meet him someday.
I feel like as a kid, Indigo used Lloyd a lot more. He was always one of my favorites.
Ew, Lloyd.
Ah, there's my buddy. Kinda feels like Rambley has a whole empire now, being the main man of Indigo and all.
Congratulations! You found me! Don't I look adorable?
I remember when my mom took us to the parks one summer. Her favorite was always Molly, so when they first opened up the new Molly meet and greet in Jetstream Junction, we were some of the first in line.
Oh, a Molly plush! She's always been my best friend. Did you know she builds planes in her landing pad at the park? And then she crashes them! She's so talented.
It's the all-new Rambley the Raccoon Raction figure, available at your local toy store. It's cool to see that there's some mint condition ones still in the park.
Oh, I got this! I know the commercial by heart!
Wow, it's the unlimited edition Rambley the Raccoon Raction figure. Push him down and he jumps. Push him up and he doesn't. Only $19.99 at your favorite toy store.
I remember watching those old DVDs that Indigo would send to your house when you booked a reservation. They always advertised the biggest gift shops and made all the silly merchandise look so fun. My dad promised me he'd buy a pair when we went.
Rambley ears! Those used to fly off the shelves. That pair's pretty damaged, though. Keep your eyes peeled. There's gotta be at least one more mint condition set out there somewhere. Like a yard sale.
When I was a kid, they used to have free unlimited refills on these things. I once drank so much Bird Up that I got sick and threw up while riding rooftop races. That poor kid behind me.
Ooh, that's a Rambley cup! Nothing beats the taste of fresh Rambleberry juice drunk directly out of my plastic, lifeless head!
So wait, they were so money hungry that they just recolored Rambley and called it a new product? Kinda lazy, don't you think?
Wow, is that a limited edition gold Rambley plush? Parents were fighting tooth and nail for those things when they came out. Seriously, our employees had to clean up so many stray teeth and nails. Hard to believe there was all that demand for a regular Rambley plush we just blasted with gold spray paint.
Then you move on to the end of the road, where Rambley will greet you. You will mention that this is Jetstream Junction and that it should be open, but somebody has it locked right now. He mentions a key in the back room of Lloyd's theater and gives us an orange pass so that we can access it. You enter the theater and are greeted with a not very flamboyant looking normal ass lion laying on the stage. After you get about halfway through the stands, it wakes up and runs off backstage. When you get there, Rambly warns you to be careful as your critter cuff can't resuscitate you. Yet.
Your critter cuff is not yet able to resuscitate you.
Huh?
Moving on from the implication of that, we can find a piano back here, and can I just say, God damn, are we a good pianist? So we go to the hallway to get to the storage room in the back, but we hear a sound behind us, so when we turn around, we see a little birdie spying on us before running away. And once we leave the hall, we can also notice Lloyd staring us down from the shelves. He runs off as we get a bit closer, and then we have to start navigating the shelves ourselves with the eager breathing of Lloyd over our shoulder and in our ear. Then, once we get to an open spot, he takes his chance and tries to pounce on us. Sadly for him, a giant box falls on him and he has to retreat, and so we go and grab the key. But when we go to leave, he starts stomping around. We carefully navigate through the shelves again, surrounded by growls and more breathing, until we reach the now closed off hall to the exit. We go to use the cuff to open it back up, but Lloyd grabs us, and for some reason, I don't really know, he backs off like when he's shown something in his eyes or made a really loud sound or something, and then we leave. Then we go and unlock the door to Jetstream Junction and enter it. Rambly greets us at the entrance to Jetstream Junction, saying that we should go check out Rooftop Racers, but before that, an arcade machine catches my eye, so I go and play that. We play as Rambly in the Rambleberry Woods on our way to go help Molly, who crashed her plane again. We platform throughout most of the forest filled with purple squirrels, and when we reach the end and find Molly and her plane, then Salem, the skunk, who if you remember had that demolished room during Rambly's railroad, jumps out of a bush, monologues a bit, and then throws a potion at Molly, making her purple as well. We have a quick fight, and on the last hit, she screams, glitching out the game and ending it. And we collect a real-life pixel Rambleberry for our troubles. We head off to Rooftop Racers next, but first we take a left as there is a Percy plush from the Playtime with Percy game. And then we head off to the demolished Rooftop Racers, where a distraught Rambly attempts to call a repairman, who is probably dead, all things considered.
Looks like Molly crashed into the right again. Don't worry though, your pal Rambly has the repairman on speed dial.
We're sorry. The number you have dialed has been disconnected or is no longer in service. Please check the number and dial again.
And then he tries to play it off and just sends us to Molly's crash pad instead, which is where we go next. We end up in a room with some slides going into a ball pit, a sealed tube to our left, and 5 cubes of miscellaneous colors. The purple one is next to the sealed tube, and a purple star is next to that. So we spin the purple cube until the star shape shows up, and then it unlocks the tube, so we enter it. We are greeted with Molly dashing past us behind a mesh wall and are given two paths. The tube in front of us and the path behind the wall that Molly just took. If we take the tube first, we find Molly in the tube along with some blood, and past that we find a yellow circle before going down a tube and ending up back at the start. In the other path, we go on a decent trek finding a red and blue star and a green triangle. At the end, we are dumped out at the top of those slides next to a sealed door. Inputting the shapes into the respective cubes will unlock the door, and we can go through the tube that's behind it. We enter a room with yet another sealed door, but a critter cuff button, so it's not a puzzle to open this time. However, after we go through that, we're given a sealed door and a sealed tube. The tube does nothing, there are no critter cuff spots, so we approach the door, and well... This chase is just a lot of fun, man. Sure, I've got some gripes that I'll go over later, but all in all, the music is fun, the visuals are vibrant, the death screen is really nice, being styled after the death screens in the FNAF fan game Juniors. My only complaint with those being that this is the only time you ever get a chance to die, so you never get to see one for Void. Anyways, at the end of the playroom, we find our way to a vent, but make sure you grab the Rambly mask on this shelf over here before you go in. We make it through the vent and are greeted with a friendly face, who initially warns us against continuing into the staff room, but thankfully he has eyes, or well, cameras. Molly gets startlingly close, but then the door slams on her in a fashion reminiscent of Miss Delight from Poppy Chapter 3. We look over to Rambly, who tries to keep his cool for a moment before he cracks and ends up bearing his soul to us.
Okay. I can see in your facial tracking that you're scared, angry, upset. Transparency is an important part of our policy here at Indigo Park, so I need to be honest about something. The park has been inactive for years. Employees stopped showing up, guests too. The mascots are... I just was so excited to see a visitor, and I wanted to be sure you were given the best experience possible. But I was confined to the entrance for so long, I didn't realize just how much disrepair the park has fallen into. Wasting all of your fun time. Sorry for the inconvenience. But, I have an idea. I have access to the repair documentation in my database. I just can't execute most tasks without authorization from a human user. You must have come here because the park matters to you too, right? Would you be willing to help me restore the park? I can see in your facial tracking data that you aren't opposed to this. Ooh, I'm so excited! Let's get this place back in business!
After the heart-to-heart, Rambly keeps talking about Rambly's Wranglers registered with pride as he welcomes us as the sole Rambly's Wrangler registered. Then he gets sad because...
Wrangler register. Security room to set yourself free! Phew, kind of exhausting to say that whole spiel. But Rambly's Wranglers register is a registered trademark. That expired yesterday.
Before we move on, we can grab a Retro Lloyd plush and also get a tiny piece of lore from Rambly about the Wranglers before we leave.
Uh-oh, that Rambly's Wranglers room is only accessible by Royal Wranglers. Maybe one day you'll grow up big and strong enough to enter it. But for now, don't.
We end up outside, and thankfully there's another information kiosk so we can go over the rest of our collectibles that we gathered. This thing popped out of the Rambleberry Rush arcade cabinet. How is this even possible? Do you think it's edible?
Whoa, where'd you get that? Rambleberries are my favorite! Oh, if only I could jump out of the screen and take a big bite. Don't eat it! Maybe I'll be able to one one day.
It's a weird poodle plush. Doesn't seem to be an Indigo product. Sure doesn't look like any character I've seen in the parks. Maybe a child left it behind?
Hey, buddy, did you dig that out of the lost and found, or was it in the trash? No surprise to guess that our park would dispose of a non-Indigo brand toy. I suppose he'd make playtime special for a child with poor taste, though.
Whoa, freaky. This must be one of those mascot costumes they used to use at the parks. In a weird way, I'm kinda glad they retired these.
Whoa, where'd you find that? I've never seen anyone wearing one. Pretty snazzy. Ooh, looks like there's an audio recording tagged with costume in my database I've never noticed before. Let's listen!
Hey Jackson, you hear about the new mascots?
Yeah, think it'll put us out of a job?
I think so. Old sport. And right after we got this damn raccoon costume.
Man, screw this place. I said we get our asses out of here and go straight to Vegas.
Aw, come on! They didn't even document the Indigo inventory ID for the costume! I was really looking forward to that. What a useless recording. Deleted.
I always find it weird when companies try to make merch that's supposed to look old. Lloyd obviously had an older design in the classic Indigo cartoons, but I'm not sure it looked like this. I guess nostalgia sells.
I don't get why we even have those. And why do they only make one of Lloyd? Is it because he's the loudest? I can be loud too! Where's my limited edition throwback plush? Where's Molly's? Where's Finley's? Give this mistake to a child and they'll cry.
We go forward a bit more and notice we are at Finley's ride, the Oceanic Odyssey, which, if you remember, Rambley said was closed for repairs back at Rambley's Railroad. He gives us a short D&D narration as Finley swims by and
As far as the eye can see. Please don't tap the glass. Really know what
fade to black. Then it's time for credits and stuff with a absolutely wonderful outro song. It's just peak, man. It's absolute peak. But this is where we move on to the more analytical part of the video.
relaxing defragmentation myself. But before you settle down, you up for a little survey to help us improve the park? Thanks for visiting Indigo Park. Hope all your dreams came true. If you've got some time and you're up for a lark, stick around for the Rambley review. I'm here to offer my best to each valuable guest I assist. And lots of happy feedback ensures I get to exist. Let's try it. Were you satisfied with the rides? Yes or no? Were you satisfied with your guide? I sure hope so. Do you plan to come back? Will I see you again? Did your experience convince you to tell a friend about us? Did I earn your trust? At Indigo Park, there is a stark contrast to everything I know this place should be. But out of the dark, you've given a spark of sunshine to this kingdom's faithful devotee. At Indigo Park, more than my remarks are mysteries. Even I don't know what we might find. But fight through the dark, and I'll be your spark of sunshine to get you out of any bind. That is, if you want to keep going. Oh, idea! I know all of this isn't fair to you. It's an awful lot to ask. But here comes Rambley Review Part 2 to sell you on our task. I'm here to view and assess each valuable guest as I learn. And lots of happy feedback ensures you're gonna return. Right, I'm so happy you rode a ride and saw the show. I'm so happy to be your guide. More than you know. So come back anytime, I'd love to see you again. In all my thousands of days, I've never had a friend like you. At least I hope I do. At Indigo Park, there is a stark contrast to everything I know this place should be. But out of the dark, given a spark of sunshine to this kingdom's faithful devotee. At Indigo Park, more than my remarks are mysteries. Even I don't know what we might find, but fight through the dark, and I'll be your spark of sunshine to get you out of any bind. Till all my old friends are united again, and I won't feel so left behind. Okay, I'll let you go. See you next time, buddy. Please?
So the question of the day is, what did Indigo Park get right? And well, it's a lot, actually. Let's start with the art direction. Indigo Park is a stunningly fleshed out concept visually, both as a theme park and as an abandoned population center. The sets it attempts are very accurate to how they might feel in real life. For example, Jetstream Junction feels like how a theme park might attempt a garage-based area of the park, and Lloyd's Theater feels like an actual show stage one might go to for like a lunchtime show or something. Not to mention Rambley's Railroad, which is incredibly accurate to how a dark ride might feel at a character-based part, and that's not even mentioning the Junior-style death screen during the Molly chase. Another phenomenal thing Indigo Park does well is its music and its sound design. Well, I also have some problems with this that I'll get into in a little bit. For now, I'd like to gush about the soundtrack a bit. One of the standouts of the track is the piano in Lloyd's Theater. It's just so extravagant and so upbeat, and the fact it's completely missable makes it kinda special in my opinion. There's also the music for Molly's chase. It's super intense, but also upbeat enough to make it more fun than scary, which I value a lot in a game. Mascot horror may still be horror, but an opening chapter should be fun and engaging rather than scary and boring. However, that kinda leads me into the next section of the video because this game isn't perfect. In fact, there is a lot wrong with it. Let me be clear. I like the game. I like it a lot, but it's a bit like a high schooler. It has a lot of tonal issues and wants to be a bit of everything while not really excelling at much. Let's start with tone. This game likes to flip-flop between 3 tones usually. The quiet eeriness of the abandoned parts of the park, the dread of being in the dens of the beastly mascots, and the fun of the rambly sections almost entirely devoid of fear. But it only really does one of these excellently, and that ends up being the rambly sections. Let's take a look at Lloyd's Theater, for example. It's fairly tense if you go in blind and are also incredibly unobservant like I am, but if you even slightly start to look at your surroundings, the danger becomes starkly apparent that it just isn't there. Being made of shelves and boxes, it's fairly easy to see through all of it and notice that there just isn't anything there. Lloyd disappears as soon as he slinks away from staring you down, and he pulls a Houdini after he gets crushed. He doesn't roam the boxes despite the stomping. His growls come from a filled stack of boxes, and he becomes ethereal after you ward off his attack. He's not a lingering threat, he's not even a threat to begin with, and it's such a shame for such a cinematic area to have such wasted potential. There is also the Molly chase. I love the sequence to death and back, but there are some glaring issues, mostly stemming from the genre rather than the game itself. My main gripe? The static nature of the chase and the length of punishment for failing. Those two tend to go hand in hand when making it start to feel boring if you end up getting stuck in a spot that slows down, like the vent, where there are no visual signs where to turn. Granted, I'm a bit of an idiot and I find fairly obvious things a bit of a struggle, but you can't tell me that you noticed the path to the right here. That's because it's actually to the left, and that's my point. how are you supposed to know that? It's not even like the Huggy Wuggy chase in the first chapter of Poppy Playtime where the vents open and close on you, making you have to change direction. No, you just have to trial and error. Now, this is something that happens a lot in mascot horror. One case that comes to mind is actually the head dev who made, well, let's say the prototype for Indigo Park, Garten of Banban Reincarnated, where the Molly chase had its blueprint laid down with the Opila Bird chase. It's a little different, granted. It's, rather than it being in a jungle gym area, it's in a hall of slanted walls, but at least it has signs posting where you need to go, rather than Molly's barely audible sound cues at the multi-choice areas like the very start. The music is so loud that you just straight up can't hear her, but regardless, I still found the Molly chase fairly fun despite its shortcomings. Now, before I get into my biggest problem with the game, that if you watched my Fredbear and Friends video you might already see coming, I would like to give an honorable mention to this sound.
2,920 days, 4 hours, 23 minutes, and 38.
This is a horror stinger, and the game likes to throw them around. A lot. Like an excessive amount, like regardless of the area, regardless of the complete lack of danger, no creeping threats, nothing to make it happen, no jump scares, there's just nothing. By the time you get off of Rambley's Railroad, it's just a meaningless sound pollution disrupting the otherwise brilliant OST. But the horror stinger is an honorable mention for a reason. It's just a sound, it doesn't really affect much, but what does affect literally everything is the complete and total lack of gameplay in this game. I don't know why or how, considering that this is in a genre known for its gimmicks, but this game just doesn't have a gimmick. There are three sections where you can do anything even somewhat meaningfully interactive with your environment. You activate a generator at the park gates, you activate a generator during Rambley's Railroad, and you spin cubes. That's it. That's all. This game is less of a game than Garten of Banban if you only use gameplay as a metric, because Garten of Banban at least has the drone, the buttons, and the breakable glass. I mean, even Poppy Playtime Chapter 1, which was widely criticized for its lack of gameplay and its short length, did way, way better than this. It had its grab pack and it utilized it somewhat well. It had puzzles that could only be done with a grab pack, and it made use of it in its environment. What does Indigo Park have? Generators, cubes, and a wobbly hand. That's it. It's barely even a game. But I need to calm down a little bit. I like this game a lot. It's a wonderful game and I'm super excited to see it grow, but somebody somewhere said something about the biggest fans having to be the greatest critics or whatever. I don't know. I just think it's important to criticize something you like a lot so that it can improve in the future, and that's what I'm trying to do here, and hopefully some of my criticisms will get through or other people will say them or something like that, and hopefully chapter 2 will be able to learn from it. Anyways, I think I'm gonna end this here. Thank you for watching all the way through. If you want to watch the streams or hang out or whatever, you can join the Discord or subscribe, and make sure to support the Kickstarter for chapter 2 because that's gonna be really good too, hopefully. Anyways, yeah, see you later.